Have some of you seen this shape before? You should have, right? This shouldn't look like crazy, but some of you might not know all the pieces of it, and that's what I'm doing today, okay? This is called a parabola. Don't call it a parabola. It's not what it is. It's called a parabola. All right, so a quadratic function means you're going to have an exponent of 2 in it. So if you notice, all of these have an exponent of 2, except for this last one, right? You don't see an exponent of 2, but there really is one, okay? The graph is called a parabola. Okay, it's either going to be a U shape or an N shape, kind of. I usually talk about happy and sad. Happy and sad. Okay, there are 3 forms of a parabola. This is called standard form, and this is the form you will see for the most part in Algebra 1. Standard form most of the time. When you get to Algebra 2, you deal with all 3, but I want to show you all 3. This is what we call vertex form. It's what we call vertex form. Okay, you have an H and the K in there. And the last one goes by 2 different names. I call one thing, people call the other thing. So I'm going to write both of them down. This is called factored form. Or you also might hear it as intercept form. Okay, doesn't matter. Those are your 3 forms. You can graph all 3 forms in Desmos. Desmos likes all and it'll be fine. All right. Now, there's a couple things. If you notice all 3 of these forms, what's the same in all 3? There is an f of x. That's a function. What else is the same? I heard what? Well, they all have an a in them. Is anything else the same? There's an equation, and I heard there's always an x. Okay? So we recognize they all have f of x. Could they all say y? Sure, doesn't matter. They all have an a, and that a is right at the front, right? That a is really important because just based off that a, you can tell if the graph opens up, so it's a happy face, or if it opens down, which is a sad face. Okay? So if a is positive, so if it's greater than 0, okay, my graph opens up. I usually think positive means you're happy. Happy, you're going to smile. Right? Now, what about if a is negative? A is less than 0. The graph is going to open down, sad face, up and down. Okay, cool. We get all that from A, even before we put anything in Desmos, we can get that from A. Cool? Now, the vertex. Has anybody heard of the word vertex before? Yeah, some of us have. Good. Vertex is your turning point of the graph. What do you think I mean by turning point? Yeah, what do you think, Anthony?
When it starts moving the other direction, like when it moves, if you're reading it left and right, when it stops moving down, you start moving up or sideways.
Right? So like if you're a happy face, you're going to be going down, all of a sudden you're going up, right? Well, if you're a sad face, you're going up and then you're going to come down. What happens is that you're at your vertex. Your vertex is your turning point. So it's going to either go up and then down, or up and then down, or down and then up. This is also known as one of 2 other things. What does the word minimum mean? The least, right? The smallest point, right? That's my minimum. It's my lowest point I can get to. It can be known as a minimum, or it can be known as a, take a wild guess. Say it louder. It can also be known as a maximum, which is your largest point. Okay? If we look at this graph right here, I'm going to put arrows on it. You don't have to. Desmos is never going to put arrows on it, so make sure we understand that. Does this graph have a maximum or a minimum? A minimum, right? And it's right down here, correct? Does everybody agree? So right here, this is my vertex, which has a minimum. Are we all cool with me there? Yeah? Okay. The next thing it has is called the axis of symmetry. Your axis of symmetry runs through your vertex. Okay. It runs through my vertex. And it's an equation, but it's not like a solid line you're going to see. What you're going to see is you're going to, never on Desmos, but it's going to be graphed something like this. It's going to be a dashed line, and it's going to run through your vertex. And that's your axis of symmetry. Your equation is x equals a number. It's always written as an equation. Axis of symmetry is always an equation. And that number plays off of your vertex. It's always going to be your x coordinate of your vertex. And when we start doing these and actually answering them, it's always going to be x equals your x coordinate of your vertex. Now, you have a y-intercept. Your y-intercept is where your graph hits that y-axis. This is only going to happen once. You're only going to have one. That's really important. If you try to tell me you have more than one y-intercept, I'm going to question you. Okay, you're only going to have one. It's when x equals 0. And it's always going to be written as 0, comma, a number. And there's my y-intercept right there. Preston, you need to grab a set of notes and you get a pencil. Okay? Y-intercept. We cool with me there? Last thing are my x-intercepts. Your x-intercepts. It's where it crosses your x-axis. You have two of them here, but you're not always going to have two. Okay? So when it touches the x-axis once, twice, or not at all. And you will write none. Okay? You have three options for an x-intercept. One number, or one coordinate, I should say. Two coordinates, or none. Don't write 0. Do you know why I don't want you to write 0? What would 0 probably look like if it would be? Like a value, like a coordinate point. We don't want to do that. Once, twice, or none at all. We cool with me there? Yeah? Okay, here we go. We're going to label some things, and then I'll let you start your... Okay, first graph right here. First question, direction of opening. What do you think that means? You're going to ask yourself if it opens this way or this way. It's going to open up or down. Which one does this one open? This opens up. Now the next thing I'm going to have you write down, if it opens up, is that a value positive or negative? It's positive. So you could write two ways. You could write a is positive, or you could write a is greater than 0. The reason I want you to kind of recognize that is when you put something in Desmos, making sure you're not putting something in wrong. Okay? Vertex. Is it a max or is it a min? Come on. It's a minimum. It's my lowest point. It's right there. Yeah? It's my minimum. But I need the coordinate for my vertex. How do I get the coordinate for this point that I put on there? Where do I start my finger at? I start my finger at my origin. Do I go up or down first or left or right first? Left or right first. You always have to go left or right, then up or down. It's not like slope. So I need to go over 1. If I go over 1 to the left, is that positive or negative? Negative. This is a major issue for some of you, is being able to put like label points off of a graph without being on Desmos. So I went left 1, and I need to go down how many? 4. So I write that as -4. -1, -4. Okay? Axis of symmetry always starts with x equals. It's going to be the x coordinate of my vertex. What is my x coordinate of my vertex? -1. So x equals -1. Everybody cool with me there? How many y-intercepts do I have? 1. Can I only have 1? Yes, you have to have 1. Now, it's right here. Agree or disagree? Yeah? I need the coordinates for that point. My coordinates for that point are what? 0, -3. Good. X-intercepts, how many do I have? 2. What are they? So you're going to write -3, 0, and 1, 0, or you can put a comma in between them. Okay? Or you could write it like this. But they have to be in parentheses. Yeah? Cool? All right. This next one stinks because it's on this side, but the questions are on this side. Okay? All right. Here we go. Here's my graph. Opening up or down? Opens down. If it opens down, what else do I know? So A is negative. Or what else could I write? A is less than 0. Cool? Vertex, max or min? Max. Now, I want everybody to listen to me for a second. When my graph opened up, my vertex was a minimum, right? When my graph opens down, my vertex is a what? Do you think that's always going to be like that? Yes. If it opens up, you're going to have a minimum. If it opens down, you're going to have a maximum. What are the coordinates of my vertex? 1, 1. 1, 1. Axis of symmetry. Start out by writing what every single time? X equals 1. Always your x coordinate of your vertex. X equals 1. Okay? Y-intercept. It's 0, 0. Yeah, it crosses the y-axis right there, so it's at 0, 0. Okay? X-intercepts. How many do I have? 2. My first one is at 0, 0. And my second one is at, not 0, 2. 2, 0. Always the number, comma x, or comma y. Okay? 2, 0. I would like you to do the third one and the fourth one. Do those for me really quickly, please. Bless you. Those are not, careful. Those aren't your x-intercepts. Where's your y-intercept? You only have one. That's just that one. All you have to do is when you get this right, just put a +5 by it. Right. Yep, that one, right. And then the arrows in fact, if they don't do this one, I'll look at it. If they don't do the arrow, just put plus here. I'm gonna go back and look at it. So if they get this right, do +5. And then there's some on the back too. All right, we ready? Here we go. This one. Opening. What did you put? Up? Good. Vertex, max or min? Minimum, yes. And my vertex should be 0, 1. Yeah? Axis of symmetry is x equals 0. Hello? I do. Yep. Bye. Preston, go downstairs, student services, please. My y-intercept is also 0, 1. Do I have any x-intercepts? No, so should I put 0? What do I write? You better write none. Okay? Make sure you write no. Don't put 0 there. Be very careful. Is everybody okay with me there? Yeah? Okay. On the back. Direction of opening. Up, down, or I have no clue. Down. Vertex, max or minimum? Maximum. Is this my vertex right here? Yeah? What are the coordinates of that point? -2, 0. Fabulous. Axis of symmetry. What do I start every single axis of symmetry with? X equals -2. How many y-intercepts do I have? You're only allowed to have one, right? Be very careful. You're only allowed to have one. It's right here, correct? What are the coordinates of that y-intercept? 0, -4. How many x-intercepts do I have? You have one, right? It hits at one spot right here. That's okay. What is that x-intercept? What? -2, 0. It's what we call a double root. You'll learn more about that once you get to algebra 2. It's what we call a double root. Okay? Are we